Namaste. Welcome and greetings. I am Magick. It's gonna stop a virus. No. This
Got y'all listening now. Some witchcraft for that ass. Too late to turn away. Abracadabra and all that good shit. Yo. Hocus pocus, got you focused on my rhyme. Simply easy, now I'm eating couch potatoes, I recline. No, I'm joking as I'm toking power puffs at Pokeos. Till my town and villa filled with ganja smoke, you know the dope. Coming out my pipes, talking about the bones in my throat. With the mic, I'm casting curses every night, you know the scope. Got my spells handy. You may call it the phone, but when I'm done reciting, you'll give me the keys to the throne. Then I'll take my keys to go home. Then say I was done. While rush to end it all, it feels amazing to have won. I'm not planning to ball, but why not take the chance to stun? No, I don't need it all. Can think of a thing I don't want. Do I worship the sun? Or sold my soul for the tongue? Or dead since I was young? Or got some voodoo done?
Namaste. Namastizzle. Peace and blessings. Shalom. What's up? How y'all doing? Magick LaCroix here, the one and only, and today is Day of Mars, Tuesday, July 29th, and this month just really skated on by. Let me say hi, peace, brother, Ultra Instinct, how you doing, brother? Peace and blessings, Legacy Sigma, how are ya? Peace. D, how are you? Nikki Love, good to see you always. Cheers, William West. What's William Welsh? I'm sorry. Peace. What's going on, Brother Moore? Peace and blessings to the missus. This retrograde crazy, is it? You said a word there. Crazy is an understatement. It reminds me of when the beginning of the year, remember how they came in with a bang and I said something on that first live of the year? I was like, they're not even letting y'all breathe. They're doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? They're doing the exact same thing with all the celebrity deaths and everything that's going on. It's just like one thing after another. It's like driving y'all crazy. I say y'all because I ain't getting in this shit. You know what I mean? So rest in peace again to Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, now Hulk Hogan. And before y'all say anything, ask yourself this. If your son or daughter brought home someone of the opposite race, would you have not talked shit also? I mean, come on. All races talk shit about other races, and we the biggest progenitors of that. So it's whatever. So rest in peace to him. So who cares? This energy is wild, Legacy Sigma. You know what I mean? It is just constant. Yes, the constant distractions, one after the other. What's up? Peace to the homie Katrina. What's going on? He said, your kids already know? And kids, speaking of children, I said, and I warned people that they'd be coming for your children. You know, I got mostly ignored, which I expected. I'm always going to expect to get ignored and called a conspiracy theorist. So be it. You know, but they're going to use, just like I said, and I'm not that I told you so, nigga. I'm not that kind of person. I try not to be anyway, but I said it was coming for the children. I said this at least 5 years ago, and boy, are they. You know, I'm glad for the most part, and I think that I have an audience that actually protects their children and keeps them away from certain stuff and educate them at home. Based on what y'all have said to me and based on what y'all said in the chat, you know what I mean? it's important more than ever to keep your children close to you, your grandchildren close, because they just going all out. Remember, we're in year 5 of that 10-year plan. We are in year 5. Okay. My goal has always been to share my experiences and my knowledge as far as magic is concerned. Because what else could you possibly do to avoid all these distractions, to avoid all this bombardment of decadence and just bullshit? What's up, brother Konami? What's the deal? Peace. And it's hot as shit in Texas. Just had a dream with you, and I was asking you about fasting, and you was teaching me to make a body out of clay. Damn, was I? That would be called doll magic. One of my favorites, actually. It's underrated. You know what I'm saying? When you know what kind of energy to put into it, and when you know certain incantations, is this really? You can actually use doll magic to help yourself. Remember, I said like maybe 2 weeks ago, the Dial Magic book by Basil Crouch, where you can create a yellow doll or just create a doll and paint it yellow. And then the secret to that is you consecrate it or baptize it to be you, and you speak to it every single day about your health. You tell it that your health is in perfect condition, you are amazing, and whatever else that you can think of. But the yellow doll specifically is for health. Peace, brother Chikezi. What's the deal? One Piece, anime heads, Ultra Instinct, Konami. One Piece is getting deep. I didn't know what to feel about the Thriller Bark arc. I didn't know what to think about it, but it's deep, actually. Capturing someone's shadow and putting it in a zombie, that's kind of brilliant when you think about it. When you think about it esoterically, that's some brilliant shit. It really is. Yeah, I remember we was talking about them voodoo dolls. People automatically say voodoo dolls. It doesn't specifically belong to that pantheon, but I guess you would say voodoo is the one that actually has made it popular. I'm trying to think. The Serpent and the Rainbow is excellent on this one. Not as far as voodoo dolls, but voodoo period. It takes place in Haiti. That as well as Tales from the Crypt, Ritual. That's Obeah, and that takes place in Jamaica. What's up, Jamal Davis? Salute, brother. How are you? My daughter is a One Piece super fan. Oh, okay. Yeah. One Piece man goes in. I didn't know what to think about it. I thought, anytime the masses go towards something, I'd go in the opposite direction. TikTok is a perfect example because I still don't. I have a TikTok, but I don't use it whatsoever. I thought it was gonna be something childish, but no, they go to places and they have some experiences that I am positive happened already in history. They just kind of disguise it. I have completely paused Hunter x Hunter, Black Clover, and Solo Leveling to focus on One Piece, even though I slowed down to a crawl because I am also focused right now. I'm doing a rewatch of Sons of Anarchy. So, yeah. All right. So, like I said at the beginning of this broadcast, distraction upon distraction upon distraction. You got people in the gematria community who is actually breaking down the numbers when it comes to this. All right. The numbers don't lie. People do, men do, women do, numbers don't. And I think Ani Osaru is going to do a broadcast a little later, if I'm not mistaken. Check him out because Ani always goes in as far as gematria and relating it to current events. All right. Um, Did y'all hear what Barack Obama said? Did y'all hear what y'all former president said? If you're easily offended, please go left. 33rd floor, I ain't looked into it much, but soon as I seen 33, I knew the vibe. Oh yeah, that is yeah. Oh, so y'all did see, yup, getting a gay friend. If that don't tell you what's going on, then I'm afraid nothing I say is going to convince you otherwise. Because just in your mind, is never going to be anything. There's never going to be an agenda, But the fact that he said it, as a matter of fact, if you're easily offended, like I said, I'm gonna show this clip. Fuck it, let's do it. Tired of holding my tongue about this shit. Fuck that shit. But here we go.
Over and over and over again, and all the people complaining about the garbage that they see on television. Hey, I got one thing to tell you: turn the TV off. It's that simple. You dig?
Did you see the video that's they posted on World Star? Two gay couple girls are at Barnes and Noble, and they see the books they have for kids. Have you seen this?
Yeah,
the Gay BC.
That's why I brought it up.
You ever read the Gay BC?
I've never. Yeah. So I was a kid when the book fair came to school. This was like birthday day for me. If you couldn't turn a backflip in recess, if you couldn't play sports be athletically inclined, you had to be smart.
Education comes from two Latin words, duco, ducere, which means to lead, and a means out or out from.
Hello, my name is Adam Ferrari, the Chief Executive Officer of Phoenix Energy.
Right.
I look forward to you joining us.
If you're truly educated, you're led out from darkness into light, from ignorance into knowledge, from weakness into strength. Then we're not being educated. We're being trained in a system that we can fit in a world that has put us on a certain level and wants to keep us at that level.
The couple literally at Barnes and Noble, and then while they're there, they see all the gay books for kids.
Right here.
Yeah, go ahead, play this clip. I think Charleston's gonna like it.
Okay, there's the gay BCs, right? Bye bye binary.
For kids.
Bye bye binary with a mohawk on a baby. Gay BCs, you're not ready. Hold us. Okay. What? A is for arrow and ace. B is for bi. This is crazy. We're gay, but this is crazy.
Indoctrination starts in the classroom.
Pause right there, buddy.
Indoctrination starts in the classroom. School is not at school. Your children are being indoctrinated. Education is in the home.
And of course, the lovely ladies of the community, they're going to say that Barack Obama was only talking about his college experience. But I'm going to tell you this. If you can't see the correlation between what he was saying and what is now happening, if you can't see the progression, the slippery slope that is this case, not a fallacy, but actually really happening right in front of our eyes, live and direct. If you can't see the effects of what's going on when you have children's books talking about sexuality, something that no child should have any business reading, then ma'am, you are willfully blind and you need to come out of the darkness. You dig?
You wanted to know what the Matrix is, Trinity. Try to relax.
This is nothing more than a social construct. And as a man who wants to lead this country, I have a moral responsibility.
You need to cease talking.
I have no idea what you're talking about, you privileged little inkwell prep school Ivy League doctor's son. You ain't no Jesse Jackson. You ain't got nothing to preach. You ain't got nothing to say. You don't have a dream, and you have not been to the mountaintop, which is why I chose you. You're going to be our first black president. And you're going to get there by making everyone forget that you are black.
Thank you for watching the Tip Network.
Gay BCs, y'all. I am seeing now, honestly, I am seeing a lot of gay people, they are actually sick of it. Anytime they are sick of it, they are sick of the agendas. It's real. But they're going to continue to push it. They're going to continue to hand over the tools to the celebrities to push it. You know what I mean? So I'm surprised when I see anyone actually still supporting that fool. And there's a lot of people who still support him. I mean, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's crazy that people are still that willfully ignorant and will continue just our people just will hold on to the, oh, he's black, so I gotta support him. Whatever. He was outed a while back, but people don't care anymore. What's up, Moonchild? How are you? B is for booty hole. Oh wow. Did it actually say that? I thought this B is for bi. He said booty. Yeah, the infamous Obama. What's up, Shamika Jackson? How are you today? Dr. Phil Valentine exposed Obama years ago. Did he really? I didn't know that. I really did not know that. Okay. And you got books, you got all kinds of literature that actually is speaking about it. But you have to know where to look. Let's see. Okay. Remember that book by Mark Dice? Remember that book? Surprisingly, like I said, it's not just about homosexuality. It's other stuff in there relating to Hollywood. But like I said before, not a lot of people have asked for this book. Gays are only approximately 1 or maybe 1.5% of the population. That is a very small amount, y'all. But because of the bombardment of the alphabet propaganda, many Americans falsely believe 10 or even 20% of people are homosexual. And liberals want everyone to think that there is no more of a difference between someone who's straight or gay than there is between someone who's left-handed or right-handed. They used to deny there was an agenda and claimed that they weren't promoting homosexuality. All they wanted was to not be attacked or discriminated against. But those claims, like almost everything that comes out of their mouths, turn out to be a massive lie. Today, it's not even about their rights to them. It's about privilege. They get extra rights. They're special. And any criticism about their behavior or lifestyle is deemed hate speech and harassment, no matter how mild or reasonable. These days, anyone who doesn't celebrate them is considered an enemy. You must put them on a pedestal and marvel at their awesome sexuality, or you're a Nazi. Okay? Look at this. I think I went over this before in the previous live. In 1987, this Community News, a popular publication at the time, admitted the revolution would require the use of entertainment in order to be achieved, saying, "We shall sodomize your songs, emblems of your feeble masculinity, of your shallow dreams and vulgar lies. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your youth groups, in your movie theater bathrooms, wherever men are men together. Your sons will become our minions and do our bidding. They will be recast in our image. They will come to crave and adore us." Look at this. In 1989, two activists published a book titled After the Ball, How America Will Conquer Its Fear and Hatred of Gays in the 90s, which detailed their goals to have Hollywood produce propaganda that portrayed them as victims of circumstance and oppression, not as aggressive challengers. Their idea was that they must be portrayed as victims in need of protection so that straights will be inclined by reflex to assume the role of protector. Their plan worked perfectly, as Sleepy Joe admitted when giving a speech for Jewish American Heritage Month, where he said it wasn't anything we legislatively did. It was will and grace. It was the social media. Literally, that's what changed people's attitudes. That's why I was so certain that the vast majority of people would embrace and rapidly embrace that marriage. Think behind all that. I bet you 85% of those changes, whether it's in Hollywood or social media, are a consequence of Jewish leaders in the industry. The influence is immense. The influence is immense. This is Hollywood propaganda, how TV, movies, and music shape our culture. Okay. Dumb as a bag of rocks. Tamia Moore. Tamla Tenet Moore is the most high and unstoppable to return the sender, all witchcraft and black magic death spells. Ashe Heka Emma Amin Ra Ahu Moore. Nation Grand Rising Karma, rest in peace. Okay. What's up, Michael Surratt? What's the deal? What is the deal? Okay. There's a very good video or lecture, I should say, by Bobby Hemmett, called "What If the God You Serve Is the Devil?" I suggest everyone see that one. I have a little clip of it here. I think it starts around here. What Bobby says here is very, very important. Okay. You have to start thinking of yourself as apart from all of this nonsense and think of yourself as a God. All right. Think of yourself as God. Think of yourself as powerful. For the simple fact that they have to keep coming constantly. They have not given this a break all year, y'all. Not all fucking year. They have constantly went in on all of this shit. You see what I'm saying? Here's Bobby Hemmett, though.
The generator, operator, and destroyer. Is it not written in your law that ye are gods? John chapter 10, verse 34, 35. You know the whole deal. You have to start thinking this way because, okay, here it is. You have to start thinking this way because I'm telling you, the reason, what is the hold up is that the actual gods.
People come to us and their teeth are so bad that they all need to be extracted.
Remember when YouTube didn't have a whole bunch of commercials?
Do not realize they're gods. It's a good movie you need to get. There's a good movie you need to get. You need to get a movie called A Never Ending Story. You thought it was a child movie. And he gets this little book and he goes through this adventure. And at the end of the movie, midway the movie, they say, hell, come to find out that the little boy that was reading the book of all these magnificent heroes, the other boy on the other side who was going through all the trial was him. And they said, and then at the end, they said, well, hell, our world is falling down because he doesn't believe in himself. It's all about you. That's the key. That's the key. This is the real knowledge. There's a mystery of the world, and the mystery of the world is look for no God to save you but yourself because it's within you. It's within you. It's just that the devil came down about 2,000 years ago, basically, when we get into this, and he made you start worshiping him so you would not cultivate the energy within you. And that's your slavery and your real bondage. And this is the key, what we have to deal with here. Because, I mean, we go through, we see things on TV and we see this shit and we say, when is this shit over with? But the key is, in the 60s, we didn't have this knowledge. In the 70s, we didn't have this knowledge. In most of the 80s, we didn't have this knowledge. You see what I'm saying? We only had a few people talking about it in the past years before that, and we all thought they were crazy. But now we have the knowledge. As a matter of fact, some people saying, they say things like, too much knowledge is dangerous to the untrained ear. That's not true. What is happening here is this. The knowledge is here. Now, there is no more secrets. There is no more secret societies that's holding back knowledge. You see, the white boy understood that they would keep people dead long enough until they would be so dead until there will come a time where they would be so much immersed in ignorance until they can give them knowledge and they will reject knowledge. And that's when he start putting out all the knowledge. That's why you go to your family members and they reject the shit. And mainly you. So they know that most black people reject this. I don't want to hear that black shit. I don't want to hear that shit, that old crazy voodoo shit. So because they reject it, now they can put the stuff out. So there is no more such thing as secrets. The secret is that the masses of the people hate knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? So as of around 1985, they knew that the people would reject knowledge because they knew you rejected it in the 70s and the 60s. So they said, now we can put all the stuff out that we had held for the last 140 years that we dug up around the world. And as a result, That's why we only have less than 1% of the amount of people that really bears witness to what the hell is going on. You see. So as we say, let's see. Let me get this right.
Less than 1%, y'all.
Yeah, we don't need a big thing. Just need enough. When you're dealing with the, let's open up my bag. And
Bobby's starting to look for stuff on that part of the video, but less than 1%. He's absolutely correct. And, you know, people are still rejecting knowledge. You know what I mean? I do analyze what I put on Patreon. All right. I do check the statistics of Patreon. And for all the stuff that I put there, there's not a whole lot of people that actually get the information, you know. And I put a whole bunch of powerful grimoires on Patreon. Okay? Where else I'm going to put it? Unless you ask me for it directly. You know what I mean? Let's see. Here's a good one. For you ladies, one place you could start is Cali. You know what I mean? Cali. There's a grimoire that's you can evoke Cali without actually going too far into it because it's through a chaos magic paradigm. See what I'm saying? It's this book right here. It's called Evoking Cali. Through chaos magic. And I ain't gonna lie, I do not know how to pronounce that. Anusin Leonte, I guess. Copyright 2016. And here, Kali is one of the more famous or infamous of Hindu deities. She is especially popular in the West, though probably not for the right reasons. Many people are attracted to her outrageous image and are content to wear it on a t-shirt, but have little to no understanding of her true implications. To many Hindus, Kali is far more than a cute display of counterculture. She is a symbol of the cosmos and all its divinity in totality. At once the wrathful goddess of death and the sublime and merciful mother of all. For thousands of years, she has been worshipped and summoned in magical rites, and I think she is a particularly excellent way to connect with magical power. Unfortunately, the Greek and Egyptian gods and goddesses were replaced by the monotonous Christian and Islamic god, but Kali continues to be worshipped to this very day in India and among the Hindu diaspora. Okay. The word Kali derives from the Sanskrit word Kal, which means both time and black. And if you have seen any of the images, she's often depicted as either really black or really blue. You heard the term blue-black. She is most often worshipped via methods known as Tantra in Hinduism. Tantra is a form of spiritual practice which encompasses mysticism, yoga, and magic, and is similar in many respects to Western ceremonial magic. Special diagrams are used called yantras, in addition to special prayers or words of power called mantras. The practice of Tantra is vast and multifaceted, and there's no way I can truly do justice to it in such a small book. But if you wish to learn more about Kali and the traditional practices and philosophical theories associated with her, a study of Tantra is where you should begin. One of the beautiful aspects of Tantra is that it was a way of spiritual practice for marginalized elements of society. Some sects of Hinduism were devoted to the ancient caste system. And when these sects were in power, women and men considered low caste or outcast were oppressed and forbidden to worship in certain temples and perform certain rites. Tantra, however, was open to all members of society, regardless of sex or caste. It actively denounced patriarchy and racism by praising women and outcasts and vilifying the male Brahmin hierarchy. Okay, there's a lot of women that I noticed are, speak about the divine feminine. There's one way to start is by working with Kali to bring out that divine feminine. All right. In American God, she was depicted as a Hindu woman. Also, in an episode of Supernatural, the Winchester brothers, she's depicted as called Hammer of the Gods. She's one of the guys present at this meeting in this hotel. Ganesha was there. I think Odin was there, and so on and so on. Divine Feminine, start with her. Namaste, Edward. How are you? When I started learning in the 90s, nobody wanted to hear this. There's definitely been progress. There's been progress, but people still are basically, in my opinion, basically all about entertainment. So the book you recommended, 13 Gates of the Necronomicon, a lesser version of the Necronomicon. And do you believe in your experiences the Necronomicon is melanin activation? Interesting question there. All right. The 13 Gates of the Necronomicon. I don't know if I actually recommended it. I said it's a different one than the Simon Necronomicon. The Simon Necronomicon is something totally different. The 13 Gates of the Necronomicon is he worked with Enochian angels, and that's something completely different. I don't even think that those are they're not regular angels. They were discovered, so to speak, by Dr. John Dee. Those entities are otherworldly. So I can't really speak on that, and you'll never hear me get on here and speak about something I know nothing of. And what I would never do is to claim or try to bullshit my way through giving you an answer. I'm not going to do that. But I know those are Enochian. I never had an interest in Enochian because, to be quite honest, the rituals seem so complicated. And someone did actually tell me that those Enochian angels are right in your face. So no, I don't think I recommended it. But what I did say, and if I did, then I apologize. I stand corrected. But I don't think I actually recommend. I said it was something different if you were wanting to get into the Enochian angels. Melanin activation. I know that you ascend when you work with if you're talking about a gatewalker, that's something different. Okay. The gatewalkers are that's something totally different. And okay, give me a second. Give me 1 second. And let's see. I actually happen to have that open when we're talking about it. I'm at 14 here. All right. So here's an explanation of what a gatewalker is. I think Terrain is the one who actually speaks on it.
The deities communicate.
Number 14. I think it's somewhere around there.
In stock and ready to ship free the next day. Zorro.com. Tools, parts, and supplies for your business.
When I travel, I take no chances when it comes to supporting my urinary health. That's why I always pack my Euphora.
Do either one of y'all want to take that? Yeah, this is where Terrain explains what a gatewalker is.
Terrain, take that one.
A gatewalker is one who have gone on into the journey of the Chaldeans, the Sumerian journey of the Chaldeans, going into the planets and planets leading you into other realms and things like that. One who have gone into themselves, into their psyche, and completed initiation through the planets, who have been crowned through the planets, through going into their initiations, an initiation into a very old secret society that exists in the astral realm, and of course, as above, so below, also exists in this realm. Also existing fully in your mind, but very tangible, real dimension. A gatewalker is someone who is trained themselves to walk in the right of the testimony of someone we call the Mad Arab, saying spirit that have channeled how to move through the process of the planets. So that in a nutshell is what a gatewalker is. But to like really describe what a gatewalker is, it probably take us about 12 hours. And you would have to get a full description from all three of us. So that's my answer right there.
So that's what, in a nutshell, what a gatewalker is, if that's what you're asking me. These are ancient rites of the Chaldeans. Like I said, we explained this. We've done that particular live 3 times where we're going through the process of explaining exactly what that is. If you ever heard me talk about it before, I said it was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my life. And there's more than one initiation in the Necronomicon, the Simon Necronomicon. You know what I'm saying? It's very complex. The book itself has a lot of traps and blinds in it. You know what I mean? So it's a secret society, yes. And, it's a very protected system. All right? Very protected. I hope that kind of answers your question. Let me know if you're looking for more detail on that one. They say 10 men control the whole world. That's about right. Yeah. There are so many books. I just came across a book. This is what I like about the Telegram app. The Telegram app, once you download that app, if you are in like Azazel News, which I recommended time and time again, it automatically downloads books that's put into this group, Azazel News. And I came across this book and I was like, how many times can they put out books on what goes on in the so-called Illuminati? Callie ain't no joke. She really isn't. Doing her mantra can have some great results. Her mantra is cream, Kreem. That's her mantra. Durga is an emanation of her too. That is absolutely correct. She has different forms, but that's super interesting regarding the Necronomicon. Yes. Gatewalking sounds, it's very interesting and it's detailed, you know what I mean? But you have to be really ready to get initiated into that particular system. It requires work. It really does. Gatewalkers, the Sumerian priest, Ishipu, I believe is the term, Ishipu. I'm missing that one. I'm not sure if that's the term, but men or off-world beings. I think those are just worldly beings. You know what I mean? There's no one way to answer that question. That is truly something you have to see for yourself. You really have to see for yourself. So are the beings that H.P. Lovecraft was speaking emanation of his psyche or actual beings? Okay, so now you're talking about the Simon Necronomicon. All right. The whole Necronomicon was revealed to H.P. Lovecraft in dreams. All right. I'm going to suggest Legacy Segment that you watch all three lives that myself, Warlock, and Terrain put together. The three that we did on the Necronomicon, please watch those, because all the questions you're asking, we answered them. And I'm not trying to blow you off either. It's just that we've gone over this information already. You bouncing back and forth? It's okay. I'll do one more. Let's see. I'll do one more clip from that where I think Warlock gives it the next answer.
A portal through which the deities communicate. There's that other life. It's part of who we are. Human being life is somewhat limited, maybe to 80, 90 years or whatever, or maybe it's just short in comparison to some of the things around us. But the body, the dream body, the astral body, lives much longer, and part of our journey here is to solidify that body and to mature it, to cultivate it, to be able to pursue that. Dreams give us a direct reflection of our own psychology, how our subconscious works, and our subconscious is responsible for bringing in 90% of our experiences. And as the brothers mentioned, it's also a portal through which the deities communicate through to us, because so that world of dreams is a part of life just as much as our reality is.
Dead but not dream. Not dead but dream. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Not dead but dream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's
all right. I got another question in the chat. Queen of Hearts is asking, can you be initiated and not be consciously aware?
No.
All right. Before I even go into that, I want to say something about that, because he's getting ready to answer that. But I'm not saying that the person who asked the question meant any harm. You know what I'm saying? But don't lie to yourself and say that you think you're this or you're that. All right. I'm seeing that people are still lying to themselves, still lying to spiritual workers. I honestly think this is a result of that jab 5 years ago. I honestly think so, because people are lying for no fucking reason at all. You can lie all day, every day to everybody. That is your choice to lie. Just do not lie to yourself. If you're going to get into this kind of path, why are you getting into it? You know what I mean? What are you trying to get out of it? Are you trying to gain knowledge? Are you trying to spiritually ascend? Or are you trying to clout chase? Are you trying to gain money? Are you trying to get attention? You see what I'm saying? You'd be surprised. I'm still surprised at the amount of people who lie to me. That goes for clients, that goes for students. You know what I'm saying? I just find lying to another adult, I find it weird. Because why are you lying? I expect a child to lie. The child doesn't want to get in trouble. But why lie to another adult? That just makes no sense to me. And it seems now like this is commonplace. Like, I think it was Ultra Instinct that said earlier, they flip everything. It's like lying is actually normal now. You know what I mean? But seriously, are you trying to get into a magical path for spiritual purposes? Or are you just doing it, like I said, to clout chase? Now, he's getting ready to answer that, but I found the question very interesting, because the person say that, when you think about it, they're wondering if they got initiated, but not consciously aware of them being initiated. See what I mean? They're asking if that's possible. Warlock answers it right here.
No, that's not going to happen. A lot of times, I'll give you an example. You can do something, and somebody says, oh yeah, I had the experience. Like we could be talking about something. Oh yeah, I had the experience, because they're thinking, of trying to assimilate what we're saying. But there are people who are born with gifts. I think we discussed that even in our own work. But to be initiated into something and not be aware of it, that's like a person getting their high school diploma and is not aware of it. So it's sort of like that sort of thing. A person can have knowledge of reading, writing, the alphabet. But even in those situations, it's not getting a diploma. It's just being aware of those things. So initiation is a willful art. It's like being born. You're conscious. It all deals with consciousness. So I know the brothers have their own experiences with initiation, but our experiences are all the same. It's not like a phantom zone where things are not defined. They're very well defined. I can ask Terrain, what was his experience in the Ishtar gate, which is a gate of initiation that we go through amongst the other 7. The same thing with Brother Magick LaCroix. And they would tell me the same exact experience, because it's real. It's like if you go traveling somewhere, you say, hey, have you been to the Swiss Alps? And, Pierre was working on he was working on the lift and everything like that. And they say, yeah, I met the dude, that sort of thing. That's how it is. It's not something that's like a phantom where you just stumble into something and, oh yeah, I think I have that. Initiation is extremely real. Here's some of the qualities, and I'll let the brothers expand on a little bit more. But when the moon turns full, we get completely lucid. When planets go retrograde, we get warnings ahead of time. Planets may communicate with us through appearing with someone who's ruled by that same planet. It's not something that is like stumbled upon. You are actually going into an astral lodge. If you go into your Eurolitex, you may get a dream that you just fellowship. If you come back in the right of the elder ones, you may have a dream that you're reinstated. So it's not anything that it happens unconsciously.
Great answer.
And he gave a brilliant answer to that. You know what I'm saying? So he also gives a brilliant answer, a brilliant discourse in his book, Atlantean Necronomicon. Right? And I think what I did, yes, here we go. There's a chapter called The Initiation of the Gates. Okay? The word initiation derives from the Latin initium, entrance or beginning, literally a going in. The term initiation refers to moving from one condition to the next on entrance, a going in. An interesting history of the term initiation is given by Dennis Jemenke in his writings on Freemasonry entitled Initiation, Mystery, and Salvation, The Way of Rebirth. The term initiation comes from the Latin word initiare, which is a late Hellenistic translation of the Greek verb maion. The main Greek term for initiation, maies, is also derived from the verb maion, which means to close. It refers to the closing of the eyes, which was possibly symbolic of entering into darkness prior to re-emerging and receiving light, and to the closing the lips, which was possibly a reference to the vow of silence taken by all initiates. Another Greek term for initiation was telete. In his Immortality of the Soul, Plutarch writes that the soul at the moment of death goes through the same experiences as those who are initiated into the great mysteries. The word and act are similar. We say telentai, to die, and telestai, to be initiated. The fact that the Mayan means to close in its translation into share is derived from the earlier in near, which means to go in or to begin. Further suggests that a notion of endings and beginnings was inherent to the ancient understanding of these terms. All right. If you were to look up initiation on in Google, it would say to be brought into a secret society or something similar to that. The initiate takes the same path that the soul does when a person has died in order to destroy the false self, which is acquired by inappropriate attachments to the phenomenal world. The false self must be destroyed in order for true initiation to take place. The ancient teachings of initiation and transformation use the negative force to destroy the false self. The Simon Necronomicon is an excellent path for the serious students who seeks initiation into the greater mysteries. Okay. At the time of initiation, a young shaman experiences the physical destruction of his body, which the spirits take apart. For a few days, he lies dead until the spirits put all his parts of his body back together. The encounter with death is a key moment of the shaman's initiation. Next, the initiate receives a new body and is reborn to a new quality. During the initiation ritual, a young shaman receives new supernatural qualities, which allows him to move fast in the space and time and allow for transformation from one state to another. Okay. There's various initiations in various cultures. All right. For example, the ATRs, they have their whole initiations. You know what I'm saying? I think in one, it's in the East. I'm not sure if it's an ATR, but you're buried for 21 days. No food, no water, no drink, nothing. You are buried in the ground for 21 days. Okay. Some initiations people don't make it back from. See the book of Water and Spirit. As he was going through one of his initiations, one of the guys died. I know that. So it depending on the system that you're initiating in, it can be very, very dangerous. See what I'm saying? So it should always be for self-evolution, but also folks be drunk for power. Very interesting point, and totally agree. You know, that's what people want, power, right? Power. That's exactly what people want. See, I watched those before I did some research and reading, hence the questions. Okay, understood. I know you be showing this often, but these are appreciated reminders. Oh, you're talking about the Gatewalkers dialogue. The reason I show them so much is because I don't think people go back, and I'm not singling anyone out, especially not you, Legacies. I'm not singling you out. But people do come and ask questions that we answered on. I suggested time and time again that please come into that live that we did, because all three of us going to be there and we answered questions. And it was, I think, a time where everybody was off work, and you know, that's why I constantly show those. Okay. It's not that I'm trying to avoid your questions. I'm not trying to blow you off either. I promise you I'm not. There's a movie called Buried with Ryan Reynolds. It's actually good. Anything Ryan Reynolds do is pretty metaphysical. Like The Nines. That's literally the name of that movie. It's called The Nines. Is that the one where he was buried in the middle? I don't know if it was in the Middle East. I know that there's an initiation where you're buried for 21 days. I just cannot think for the life of me which system that is you're being initiated in. I think I would go crazy, buried for 21 days. You're not wrong, but sometimes it's best to listen with different ears. Okay. All right. There's just so much to learn, like I'm constantly trying to tell y'all. When I was learning the ATRs, everybody wanted to learn Palo Mayombe, because although voodoo was the system to learn and everybody was getting into it, Palo seemed to be stronger. Palo Mayombe. You know what I mean? And oh shit, Ishu will fuck you up. You know what I mean? But there's several Palos. You know what I mean? There's one called Palo Kimbaza. Did y'all know that one? Palo Kimbaza. Palo Briumba, if I'm not mistaken, is the name of another one. Okay, this is Palo Kimbaza, right? Look at that. See that? That is what's called a Nganga. Okay? Nganga. The religion, the spirituality, and the meaning of ancestor worship. As taught and instructed by Ifa Shola Sabu. This is more than a religion. It's a celebration of the spiritual life of our ancestors who passed away in a mortal plane and achieved a new level of spiritual enlightenment in the light of the creator of the seen and unseen. Without our past, the present, and the future are only hollow vessels, leaving all people thirsty for the knowledge of a culture that once was the center of the human soul. Ashe. Look at that powerful firma. That's called a firma, y'all. It's not a veve. Veve is what they call it in voodoo. They call it a firma in Palo. All right. And then when you go into the table of contents, you see, look at this: medium, clairvoyance, transmissions, extraction, astral projection, booster, and possession. Talk about baths, talk about herbs, talk about the elements. You know what I mean? So there's so much to learn. This is why I say you can't, there's no way you can learn this. You can try and learn this in a month and you got it. See what I mean? It's too much to learn here. That's why I say, what are you learning for? There's one called Badass Ancestors. Okay? Badass Ancestors. Finding your power with ancestral guides. This is Patty Wigington. Wigington. All right. I always say, if you're going to get into the magic path, start with your ancestors first. All right. Check this out. It's called Badass Ancestors. All right. It's a white woman. Yes. Get off that, black or white shit. Don't matter. Get the information wherever it comes from and throw out the rest. What or who do we mean when talking about ancestors exactly? There are different types. Familiar ancestors are part of our family. The badasses who came before us somewhere in our family tree. They are your grandparents, your great-grandparents, even your extended network of aunts, uncles, and cousins. They're the people who, by virtue of either bloodline, marriage, fosterage, or adoption, are your family. If you consider someone your ancestors, whether they're in your direct line or part of the outward-reaching spiderweb of family DNA, then for the purposes of this book, they are your ancestor. There are also archetypal ancestors who may or may not be genetically related to us, but share kinship with us as archetypes. They might appear as a warrior, a healer, a peacemaker, or any other symbolic figure you can imagine. We may or may not be able to identify them concretely, or perhaps they show up as a spiritual being, such as a mystic, monk, priestess, or even a figure such as Jesus, Mary, or the Buddha. Badass ancestors. Another one. I was talking about the Hindu pantheon, which is a great pantheon. I love the Hindu pantheon. I do, because I love mantras. And in particular, I like Ganesha, right? The book of Ganesha, for those of you who are interested in him, the elephant-headed god, the remover of obstacles. I may put this one in Patreon, this one, the book of Ganesha, okay? All Hindu prayers, all new endeavors, all the simple routines of daily life, and especially all new books are preceded by this invocation. Since Ganesha is very specially the patron deity of writers, and says all books, particularly this one, that attempts to grasp some nuances of his elusive essence exist in his mind. The invocation to the elephant-headed god used by Chalukya king Sameshvara Mala at the beginning of his work, Manasolasa. I'm butchering these names, but is appropriate. And it goes, I prostrate myself before you, O Ganesh Vara. Your icon is a hollow charm that assures fulfillment of all desire. With the fanning of your broad ears, you scatter away all obstacles as though they were weightless as cotton. Ganesh is one of the most widely worshipped deities in India, regarded by millions with love and adoration. Simple everyday routines, a new business, a journey, even an examination, all are preceded by a prayer to Ganesha, beseeching his benediction. Even little children in some parts of the country begin their writing lessons with the invocation, Hari Shri Ganapataye Namaha. Salutations to Ganesha, son of Shiva. I used to do this all day, every day. I used to say, Om Gum Ganapataye Namaha. What used to be my favorite mantra. I even used it before I took a typing test, just so I would pass it. I said that in my car. I think I said it 108 times. Went in and went over. I probably would have did it anyway, but I went over what I was required to score. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I might put that one in Patreon, y'all. All right, that's going to do it for me today. I'll see y'all back here Thursday. Wow, really? Elephant stays at your front door? Yeah, that's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. I think we got one in here somewhere. But some people, some followers of the ATRs will keep a machete near the front door to invoke the power of Ogun. They'll spray it with their mouth 3 times with rum and put it by their front door for protection. Okay, very simple technique for protection. Those of you in urban areas could, I know I sounded real bougie coming from North Philadelphia talking about those of y'all in urban areas. But yeah, I wonder if Lord Ganesha has a form of a dragon also. There's a dragon whose name means the obstacle. Never heard that. Never heard of Ganesha being anything other than an elephant. That's interesting though. Look at the Mahabharata. Ganesha is featured heavily in the Mahabharata, the epic creation story of the Hindu pantheon. I know I showed it here before. Thanks for that, Nikki Love. Cooked with the info. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. All right. Yeah, thanks for coming. Don't let them get y'all distracted, y'all. Please don't. Everything I spoke about today can be used to combat all this nonsense that they're showing, that they are bombarding the masses with. You know what I mean? I can't remember if Ani might be going on really soon. So those of you who attend his lectures, I'll meet y'all over there. I always go and support the brother, and he'll be back on here real soon. So y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you back here Thursday. Don't let them get you down. It's a song called Don't Let Nobody Get You Down by War. Check it out. I'm the one and only. There's only one. Magick requires to greet you in peace, as I always do. Namaste. Peace, y'all.